right, Amazing Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to sing, and grace my fears released. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. We've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
So last week when we were talking about 2012, we talked about the different ages coming in. The age of the bull, the age of Torah, started about 4,000 years ago. And in the age of the bull, to read the Old Testament, to read the Torah, which was kind of the predominant book of the time, as well as all of the ancient Greek and Roman mythology, the relationship between God and man, that was spooky. When you read that stuff, it's like there's not a whole lot of love, there's not a whole lot of forgiveness, there's a whole lot of I'm going to smite you and you do this, or really, really bad things are going to happen. And so there's a lot of folks in the New Thought movement who say, if I'm God's kid and if Jesus is God's kid, then you know, why do we have this big deal about Christmas if I'm God's kid and Jesus is God's kid? When the age of the fish came in 2,000 years ago, the age of Pisces, it was ushered in by one of our brothers, by one of God's kids. Single-handedly, when Christ showed up, he brought with him the age of Pisces, the age of the fish. And with that, we got to understand God in a different way. We got to love God in a different way. When we read the New Testament of the Bible, everything from Jesus on, it shows us that God is love, and because God is love, God's gift of love is grace. Bless you. And grace is one of those really kind of challenging things that we deal with because none of us on this room are perfect. There aren't one of us that walks on water if it's not frozen. And so there's different things in our past, or maybe our present, that we may beat ourselves up for. And in the New Thought movement, we talk about things like karma, and this action creates an action that I need to go balance this other action. But there's a way of transmuting that energy so that we don't have to go live on the other side of it in order to fully understand it. We can give it up to God. And God's willing to take it. That's grace. That's one half of grace. And the other half of grace is understanding that we're blessed. Not because we deserve it, not because we've earned it, not because God gave us a checklist and said, if you do this and this and this and this and this, then I'll love you. Or if you do this and this and this and this, then you'll gain my favor and I'll bless you and I'll bless what you're doing. Instead, just like any parent to a child. We look at them, we say, I love you. And I'll bless you with everything I got. And you don't even have to earn it. You get it just by being you. We all get that same thing from our God, from our Creator, who looks at us in a way 1,000-fold that I look at my daughter and I say, I love you. There's nothing you can do that will make me not love you. Anything that you ever do in your whole life, Low Trinity, I'll forgive you as soon as you want me to. And I will bless you with everything that I have all the days of your life. Is just a Cliff Notes version of a very thick book, which is how God feels about all of us. And that was brought to us by Jesus 2,000 years ago. And this is why we continue to celebrate Christmas. When we look at when Jesus showed up, his gift of grace was given to everybody. So when we celebrate his birthday, we try to give our gifts. And so we wrap them up and we pick them out and we put them under trees and we wrap them in pretty paper. We say, look, here I love you, and here's this expression of my love, here's this gift. And it's important. But I would ask this Christmas season, if instead you give yourself the gift of God's grace and give it to other folks in your life, because if there is nothing that God can't forgive through grace. In the video where he's talking to the disciple who gave him up and eventually led to his capture and his crucifixion and his death, he said, I forgive that. Yeah, don't sweat that, I got that. And the guy said, no, it's going to take me a lifetime to make this up to you. And he said, no, you don't. It's already forgiven. We've all wronged other people. We've all wronged ourselves, and we've all been wronged by other people. And so we can try to hold on to, sing it, girl.
Keep singing at the wrong time.
So we can try to hold on to that burden, that energy, that heaviness that somebody wronged us and they haven't yet made it up to us. But it's like holding on to a burning hot piece of coal. Who is hurt? Grace is the ability to drop that piece of coal, to drop that thing that's burning inside. Because if God can forgive us and can forgive anybody, any of his kids, then why can't we? That gift of grace doesn't diminish the things that we have done or the things that other folks have done to us that just wasn't fair, it just wasn't right. But the difference it makes in our lives when we let go of that hot piece of coal, when we finally let ourselves off the hook, or let other folks off the hook, we're the ones who get free. We're the ones who get free. So when 2,000 years ago, Jesus ushered in the age of Pisces, the age of the fish, and changed the human being's relationship with the Creator. That's amazing. That's amazing. And now as we're going into the new age, the age of Aquarius, that brings us even closer to every aspect of divinity. Through all of his kids and all of his teachers, through Jesus, through Buddha, through Confucius, through Debbie and through Mark and through Papa and through Scott and through Darcy and through music and through meditation, through everything, and we're getting closer and closer and closer to God all the time. And we're allowing that to flow through our lives even more effortlessly. We talk about being in that flow of life, just floating down that river of abundance, of prosperity, of love, of happiness, of fulfillment, of purpose. The dams that block that up come from inside of us, and they generally come from a feeling of some form of lack of love or some form of unforgiveness. Be it for ourselves and something we're still holding ourselves accountable for, or because you just don't understand this person and this person and this person wronged me in this way, that I just can't let that go. God says, I can let that go. I can forgive that. They say the greatest form of flattery is imitation. And so when I look at who is God, I'm inspired to want to be a little bit more like that, and a little bit more like that than I was yesterday. So if God, through grace, can forgive all things and bless all people, then my challenge is, can I? Can you? It's not to say that the things that hurt us didn't hurt. It's not to say that the things that we did or thought or acted was us looking in our best light. I can look back in things in my life, things that I did, and go, wow, I'm not very proud of that guy. Gosh, that was me a lifetime ago. And then there's other stuff, just small little things that happened just yesterday, just last week. And I go, wow, that was me? I did that? I don't like that so much. And so I can forgive myself, and I can learn from it, and I can go walk forward. In the physical world, we work with physical rules, and with those physical rules that are programmed into us since childhood, since grade school, is you're here by your own merit. If you get an A, you've earned it. If you get a C, you've earned it. If you get a D or an F, you have earned that also. And then you're held accountable to this A through F grading system to know whether you get to move forward with honors, or whether you need to repeat that one. We look at the work world and we say the same thing, A through F. Where am I at? I need to earn it. I need to earn these things. We look at the goals in our lives. I have this goal, and I have this goal, and I have this goal, but I don't know how I'd ever reach it. One half of grace is forgiving ourselves for whatever these things are in the past, and the present and the future. The other half is knowing that we're blessed to go do and live and experience these things that we've dreamed about. Those dreams are ours for a reason. They've been given to us. We resonate with them. They make us feel alive when we're dreaming them. Now you can look at me and you can look at Trinity and you can say, there is no dream that she could have that I wouldn't support, that I wouldn't want her to have. And it's just that emulation of what I perceive the Creator to be, knowing that I'm this much compared to a whole room. I'm my one drop of the ocean of God looking at each of us and saying, you're my kid. I want for you the very best. And any hot piece of coal that you're still holding on to, I let that go the minute you asked me to. And now I'd ask you to let go of it also, so that the healing process can begin on that hand. This is grace. This is gift. This is why we look at Christmas as a reminder that 2,000 years ago, changing from the age of Taurus to the age of Pisces, ushered in by Jesus, who brought to us an entirely different understanding of God, by understanding that God is love, and God's gift is grace. And whether we feel or not that we deserve this gift doesn't change the fact that it's given. Now, inside of ourselves, we can really embrace this and finally be free from the chains of yesterday with rocket boosters into the tomorrow of our dreams. We can do that if we want to, because it's right there and it's waiting. Because God says so. Because you're loved, because you're God's kid, and God says so. I can just feel it, and I hope, and I pray that you can.
I see that little video, I think, about, it wasn't that life was perfect. It's just what we chose to hold on to, what we chose to focus on. And our minds are so powerful that we can make the smallest thing into this hugest thing. Or we can take this hugest thing and make it into this tiniest thing. We're talking about the gift of grace and the gift of wholehearted forgiveness and how that unchains ourselves. I'm not saying that it's easy, I'm saying that it's worth it. When I was a kid, I was abused to the point that I was removed from a state. Physically, sexually, mentally, verbally, you name it, in ways that make Lifetime movies look calm. When I got to know Christ, when I got to understand grace a couple of decades ago, the way it was explained to me was that the person who betrayed him, his good friend who betrayed him and gave him up and denounced him 3 times before the cock crowed, and the Roman soldier who speared him while he was on the cross, that he forgave those folks. And I went, wow. Compared to that, what I went through wasn't that bad. And if you can forgive that, then I can forgive this. And at the time I thought, I don't know how the heck I'm going to do that. It hurts too much. I've spent too much of my life identified by this events that happened. And so at one point I said my knees and I said, I need your help to do this. I don't know how to do it myself. And little things started to creep in. Hey, maybe do this, maybe try that. Here's this little step, and this little step, and this little step. And eventually, again, more than a decade ago, it was let go. And not only was it let go like forgiven, it was let go like I celebrated it. Like I threw a party for it and for that number 2. Because without that thing happening and happening repeatedly and happening to the level that it did, there have been literally thousands of people I wouldn't have been able to connect with. I wouldn't have been able to help. Even though my heart was there to help them. When you connect with somebody and they say, dude, I'd love for you to help me, but you don't understand. You haven't been there. Nobody can counsel someone like who's been in a POW camp than somebody who's been in a POW camp. Nobody can counsel a cancer survivor like a cancer survivor. And so I began to see this thing, tragic as it was that happened to me, as a gift that allowed me to reach and to touch a lot of people on a lot of levels. And this thing that once burdened me then freed me. Now my sister, who suffered like little bitty bit compared to what I went through, still holds on to it so tight. When you talk to her about it, she talks to you like it just happened yesterday. She talks, and you can listen to the words that she says, but she talks still in the present tense. He did this, and then this happened, that happened, and da-da-da, and like it was yesterday, and it still owns part of her. And still influences so much of her daily life. And when I talk about these things, they happened just lifetimes ago. Because I let go of them lifetimes ago. Now here's this great big thing in my world that's been made in this little bitty thing. I've got 2 friends right now who are like brothers to me, that we've been the best of friends for, I don't know, 30 years, 20, 30 years. And they were at my wedding, blah, blah, just great guys. And they decided to work together, and they did really good for several years, and blah, blah, blah. And right now, they're not talking because of a cell phone bill. Because one guy thought the other guy should pay it, and the other guy thought the other guy should pay it. I'm right, and you're wrong, and I'm right, and you're wrong, and you took advantage of me, and you took advantage of me, but we're friends, and we're friends. And this little goofy thing of a couple $100 and a cell phone has been made into this absolute mountain that both guys are on both sides of this mountain, not even able to see each other, because this thing has been built so huge. It's all in the mind. In your world, what is really, really big that can be made really, really small? And what things have started really, really small that have been made into these monstrous things with the gift of grace? I ask you to give yourself the gift of freeing yourself. And if you don't know how to do it, like I didn't know how to do it, that's okay. Just ask. I need some help with this. Can you help me heal it? Can you help me let it go? This is a gift we can't wrap up. It's a gift we may think we give to the other person or the other people involved. But time after time it's proven, one we actually give the gift to is ourselves. Because we finally let go of that burning coal that's been smoldered.